The Super Nintendo did.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Yeah, you're right, it did, because I was born in 1982.
He got you there. And with that being said, we welcome back gamers to the Experience Points podcast, and this is episode 32. And today's date is August 29th, 2021. I am your host, Cyrus, aka the Mind Changer, which is my favorite nickname. And I am joined by Eric, aka Blackout.
What up? I'm the one that gave him the mind changer name.
I am also joined by Kim, aka Kim the Great.
Hello, hello.
And last but definitely not least, joined by, I was going to say Adam.
Wow.
Adam?
I think he was watching too much IGN.
I was going to say Adam. I got a friend named Adam from back in the day, but yeah, Kevin, aka the Pokemon Professor.
Erica's not the only sole person that called you the Mind Changer.
But I made it up first.
And on today's today's episode, we are going to chit chat and celebrate the 30th anniversary of the SNES.
Super NES.
Really?
You just wanted to trigger me. You knew that was going to trigger me. Why do you do this?
Not cool. Not cool.
I always call it
Not
the
cool
SNES.
because you called it that, and not cool because you made him shout.
Which is what you tried to do earlier, so hesh. I always
We all
call it
know
the
Eric is
SNES.
volatile.
Damn it.
I never called it the SNES.
Never in my life. The SNES. Just like I never called
That
the
sounds like
regular.
a sneeze or
Yes, it sounds
or
like
like-
Diesel, something like that.
Yeah.
sounds like this chew that I used to sell at the gas station.
What?
I'm gonna get a tin of SNES.
With the side of Legend of Zelda.
Okay, here's another example. NES is NES, because if it was NES, that would be NESS. You know, NES from Smash Brothers from Earthbound.
Really?
That's
Really?
NES.
Okay, you're going.
Yes.
You're going way too far.
You're reading too far into
You're
this
going
one.
way too far.
Too far.
So,
Too far.
we are all going to talk about our top 5 and Kim her top 3 favorites on the SNES. SNES. Sorry. See, it's a habit. I'm sorry. I just do it. And we're very excited because this is honestly, well, personally one of my favorite consoles of all time. Has some really amazing memories. Before we get started on that, in the background, what you guys will be seeing is me playing a 10-minute snippet of each SNES game off the SNES Online for the Switch. So I picked some of my favorites, and those are playing in the background. So for your entertainment, Eric has opted and demanded to go first. So we're going to start with his number 5. And I know he put them in order.
Oh, yeah.
And then we'll move on from there.
Alrighty then. Number 5. Drum roll, please. The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
Ba, 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 ba. Actually, that might be playing on the screen right now, to be honest. But go ahead.
Well, good timing. So, I picked The Legend of Zelda as number 5 on my list because not only was it probably the very first RPG that I truly played through, but it was the game that really made me fall in love with the world of Hyrule and our favorite elf, sometimes elf boy, Link, who is definitely not Zelda and a girl.
That's so
I
funny.
love that game.
I still
like,
hate when people do that to this day. Do you play Zelda?
Her name's Linkle.
Linkle.
Oh god.
And Tinkle.
That's actually that. No, Linkle is actually that freaking female Link that's in Hyrule Warriors.
I'm about to Google this right now. I think I've seen her before. Oh yeah.
Kind of cute, but it's yeah. But anyway, but yeah, I love that game. It was like as I say, it was earlier on in my gaming career. Like I remember like playing it a few times. And they had little displays back in the stores and stuff like that. But you never really got that part. But it's like, oh yeah, Zelda. But I rented it the first time from Family Video, and I remember very fondly how whenever you rent like a game, they always have like a file that's already there. So
Oh
you
yeah.
check out the file, and they're like it's somewhere like how the heck am I supposed to get there? It was in the dark world, and it's like the fifth dungeon that they're in. Like what? Oh, I'm not. I better not mess with this. So you don't better go back and start from scratch. But I enjoyed that game. I loved the beginning because it had the rain. I love rain in video games. I don't know why.
Me too.
Rain was that's why I love RPGs in the rain because just that opening scene of The Legend of Zelda where you wake up, it's raining, and like how the rain sound actually still you hear it like it's like you're in the house and it's like. But then when you go out, it's raining hardcore. It was just a great feel. And I just love that game.
So a quick side note. I did start over on the files in my little playthrough, and of course, we saw that rain part, and also too. Next week's episode 33, is going to be the top 10 rains in any game. True story.
Nice.
I'm joking. It's not a thing.
Oh, I could have actually came up with some.
He probably is already thinking about his ones.
I was. I had like Secret of Mana.
I actually have quite a few myself, to be 100% honest. I'm not going to lie.
I don't have any favorite rains.
I do. I love rain.
Dude,
all right, Kim.
I love rain in games.
I didn't say I didn't love rain in games. I said I don't have any favorite. I don't have a list of favorite rains.
All right, Kim, hit it. Tell us one of your favorites.
One of my favorites from Super Nintendo, I would say probably Donkey Kong Country.
Sweet. Which is also on tonight's little playlist as well.
But I just had a lot of fun with it. Throwing barrels at shit. And some of the banter between the characters was always pretty funny.
Kim's pitch for the game. What is this game about? You throw barrels at shit. That's how it goes.
Sold.
Now I will say that on the little playlist I got playing, on the screen, I played 6 games, and all 6 of these games continued their franchises throughout the years and evolved to just be amazing games. And Donkey Kong is, I believe, number 5. The number 5 game. Donkey Kong's the number 6 game I played on the list. And as I was playing it tonight, I was thinking about, of course, me playing it back then, but the reboots for the Wii and the Wii U that later came to the Switch. If you guys have not played Donkey Kong Country Returns, please play it. It's one of the best Donkey Kong games out there.
See, I don't know. I remember it came out, the reboots came out, and I was just like, I don't know. Like, I liked it back then, but I feel like I got my fill of it.
Trust me, it is great.
It would be something that I would play if somebody else brought it over, hint, hint, to play, but I would not spend money on it myself.
I got you covered. That's going to be fun.
I feel you then, because like, after playing Donkey Kong Country 3, I'm like, nope. Like, I thought Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2 were great games, but then 3 came, 3.
I just know what I get bored of now.
Mm-hmm.
I get bored a lot easier now than I did as a kid.
Gotcha. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But there's also nothing wrong with giving it a chance either.
That's true.
There you go. All right, Kev, hit us.
Man, that's kind of hard. I can't do mine in just an order.
It doesn't have to be in order. Just say one.
Probably say Mystic Quest was pretty cool. I guess that'd be my lowest one. Just because it was
Goemon.
It was an interesting game. It was stupid, but it was pretty good.
Everybody loves Goemon.
I guess it depends on when you played it. Like, you played it.
We're talking about Goemon.
Goemon's the name of the main character.
Digimon?
No,
not Digimon.
No, I'm talking about Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. The main character's name was Benjamin.
Benjamin Franklin! So good!
It's just the game was like really simplistic. The Japanese made it. It was it came to the United States first, and it was called Final Fantasy United States or something in Japan.
Okay.
But it was like
USA.
it was pretty simplistic, but it was still challenging back then.
I am thinking about Mystical Ninja for the Nintendo 64, which is also called Goemon. So never mind.
That game was fun. Don't
I
get me
love
wrong. But
Goemon.
you're way off.
It was so good.
Never played it.
It was so good.
But no, I agree with you, Kev. Well, I never actually played Mystic Quest. Like, I feel if I would have played it, maybe 15, 20 years ago, I could probably have played it. But I just don't think I could play that game after, all of
Oh
the
no!
experience I've had.
I never said the game holds up. It doesn't. And like I said, it was not the greatest game. It was just I liked it.
It was fun when you were playing it.
Yeah.
It served its purpose.
And that's all that matters.
I have a lot of games that are like that too.
The number 5 that's on my list, me personally, is, and also too, my list is not the top 5 greatest of all times, because if I did that, it would be the same as Eric's. Because him and I have the same taste. So I picked the top 5 most memorable games for me from the SNES. I keep catching myself when I say SNES. And number 5 to me was Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
That was a fun ass game.
I've always loved like those little. I think I'm going to say it again. My little indie rant. I've always loved indie games and different kind of games. I don't know if that game would be considered indie, but I don't even know if indies like existed back then. But
that was a mainstream company. I don't remember what company it was, but it was like a company.
I'll look it up in just a minute. But Zombies Ate My Neighbors was fantastic. Little top-down. It was a shooter, and you get these weird weapons. You're these 2 kids, and you have to fight off not only zombies but like plants and giant babies. And you go to different locations. You go to malls. You go to backyards. Like the city streets and stuff like that. And you get like a water gun, which is supposed to take out the zombies. You get a weed whacker. You get missile launchers. It was a different type of game. And me and my cousin, we spent days playing that game trying to beat it because it was not easy. It was hard as hell.
Nope.
I freaking memorized every single path, because it was also like it was a top-down shooter, but it was also like a puzzle maze game. Like you had to do things in a specific order in order to unlock the next part to get to the next stage. And if you did not conserve your life when you got to the mall, those giant babies are gonna fuck you up. I'm sorry. But these babies are like the size, like 2 stories high, and they walked around.
Like Calcabrina.
Like what?
Bigger than that, actually.
Bigger than Calcabrina?
I don't know what that is.
Accurate size, but they were huge. You fought the doll in the anti-tower.
Oh yeah, I did. Okay, I didn't know the damn thing's name, but yeah, it's probably about that big, if not a little bit bigger. But they were just big ass babies. I'm gonna look them up real quick. But yeah,
but the first funny thing is they weren't even like vicious, so to say. They're just walking around with their bottle, like walking around doing baby walks in circles and stuff.
And they also shot milk at your ass, which was not good.
At your ass?
At your ass. Yeah, if you were turned around, it hit your ass, and you lost your life. Yeah, I'm going to send a picture.
Calcabrina was originally in Final Fantasy IV.
I'm going to send the picture to you guys right now. And that baby flattened the hell out of you. And you had to save people. And if like the zombies or the monsters touched the people, they died like instantly. They didn't have a health bar. It was just... it was a very frantic game, but I love the hell out of it. And the soundtrack was so freaking good too.
Oh, and the funny part about that is like literally... You're out here trying to save these stupid ass neighbors. They're out here grilling on the barbecue.
Yep.
There's one jackass swimming in a damn pool with a little inner tube tire floating. They're doing all sorts of retarded stuff. There's this little stupid blind dude. I think he's the one flipping the burgers. Then there's a stupid fat guy and the skinny wife that are like the tourists. Oh my god!
It was just fun. It was a fun game. It didn't take itself seriously, nothing like that. It was just a good time. All right, Jones.
And definitely those stupid hard-ass vampires. I mean, it was like some vampires. Those dudes were hard as me. Anyways, okay. So, my number 4 is, and you shouldn't be too surprised about this, you know it's going to make it somewhere, Mega Man X2.
Damn it. Now I gotta change one of
That's
my
why I
list.
didn't say.
So-
That's why I didn't say Legend of Zelda, because that's on my top 5. That's why he went first.
Okay, well, I'm actually gonna join you for this part because that was actually my number 4 as well.
That's cool. Hey, you gotta love Mega Man. Hold
Oh
on.
my god!
Mega Man X. First of all, Mega Man X was like a huge upgrade from the original Mega Man by Nintendo.
And that's why I loved
was
it.
fun.
I could not
Yeah.
stand the original Mega Man games. They pissed me off something bad. But when I first saw Eric do like a wall jump in Mega Man X, I was like, "Yep, I'm in. I'm in."
Yeah, the wall jump thing
I
was
gotta
so
have
nice.
it. Wall jump is like one of
And
my
the
favorite
air
moves
dashes
in
and stuff.
any freaking platformer. Like if I'm playing a platformer and I know for a fact it's gonna have a wall jump, I'm like, yeah, I'm in there.
Yeah.
So freaking good. And also too, quick fun fact, it's the number 8 top rain in any video game. Wheelgator.
You got a point there too.
And,
Oh yeah.
Yes, in Wheelgator stage, you have to like blast these crystals, and then it changes
It's
the
wire
weather.
sponge. It's wire sponge.
Wire
Just
sponge.
saying.
I always get those confused. Anyway, yes, you can change the weather, and I thought that was cool as hell. But just Mega Man X in general was just amazing. I thought Part 1 was great, but Part 2 was just
Part 2
Chef's
basically
kiss.
is everything better. Although I will say Part 2 was a little easier than Part 1, but it was still a lot funner. Like the story was better. Everything was just good in X2. Like the character designs were a little more outrageous. Like come on, you had a dude called Overdrive Ostrich.
Overdrive Ostrich was awesome. Morph Moth was the bomb.
More balls.
Shout out to our boy Trey. Rest in peace, my man.
Yeah.
My boy
Flame Stag.
My boy Trey, he freaking made up a rap about all the freaking bad guys. That thing. Him and I spent like 3.5 hours one Saturday just making up a rap about the bosses in Mega Man X. It was the funniest damn thing. It was so good.
And some of the new ones you all made too, like Blast Off Duck. I will not forget Blast Off Duck.
Yeah, we definitely made some up too. Oh, Lord. Good times. Alright, Kim, what you got for your next one, girl?
I would want to say, also, I don't care. I don't care that I'm copying Eric. A Link to the Past was a really good game.
That's fantastic, man.
And I will still pull it up through playing it on the Switch every once in a while just to play it, just for the hell of it.
Yeah, you will.
Because classics never die.
That's right.
I played the one for 3DS, which is basically like a carbon copy with some stuff added on
Link
to it.
Between Worlds.
Link Between Worlds. But Link Between Worlds is fantastic, man. I mean, of course it's going to be good because it was Link to the Past, but the addition of the puzzle mechanics to where you can basically turn to a piece of paper and basically turn to a shadow, stick to the wall, and like slide between cracks. That's what she said. It was just good stuff. it was done very well, and then the upgraded graphics and upgraded weapons and stuff like that. I'm not sure if they had newer weapons in there. I'm pretty sure they must have, but yeah, that was definitely a good addition. I was hoping for something new when that game came out, but it was good to go to revisit that world again.
I never
I
did
just
play
thought it
that
was
one.
a different game when it first came up. I don't know if I even bought it. I think I might be one of those games I bought and never played.
I beat it. I loved that game.
I know you do.
I noticed that Zelda games started getting harder, and I stopped like. I just kind of gave up on it. I was like, oh my god, I have to actually think now. Like, what's up with that?
The bad thing
They
about
really got harder.
the bad thing
Fair.
about Zelda games is the fact that if you step away, that's the problem. If you step away and like a week or so, a month or whatever, and come back to it, you have no idea what the fuck you're doing or where you are.
Speak for yourself, sir.
Oh,
That's
Legend
me
of
on Breath of the
Zelda,
Wild.
Ocarina of
I
Time
can pick up
is
a-
the quest.
I can pick up a
was
Zelda
stuck
game and I'm
in the
fine.
temple.
okay. Well, I'm speaking for myself.
No, you're speaking for me too, and I'm with you there.
Okay.
I almost had to start it all over again
Yeah, I've done
because
that
I was like,
many
I don't
times.
even know what the fuck I was doing.
Nope.
Especially if I was
Man.
stuck before I gave up on it or took a pause on it. If I was stuck before, well, I sure as shit ain't figuring it out now.
I remember
No,
last
I
time.
take a break and I like literally like just when I come back to like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. It's literally, I was playing the Master Quest of Ocarina of Time. I was stuck in the damn water temple for like a month. So I just
Water
literally
temple.
stopped and then, yeah, that was annoying
Ocarina of
on
Time
normal,
is a
but
good one.
freaking the one on Master Quest was. Ugh. So I stopped for like a month, and I'm back on Christmas Day. I woke up early, and nobody else was up, so I came open Christmas presents. Yes, I was like, you know what? Let's get back into Master Quest. Bam, beat that dungeon. I was proud
So
of myself too.
this brings up a good question. We need to be doing probably a Zelda specific episode because there's enough content to talk about for sure.
I added to
That's
the
true.
list. You just made the list.
Good.
Da-da-da-da.
All right, Kev, what's your next one, bro?
Secret of Mana.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Well, I'm gonna chime in on you there because that's my number 3. But okay, go on.
It was just a really fun game. It was really cool. Like leveling up your characters and doing the just seeing the different abilities that they added in there, with the different weapons and just the progress. The story was really good. The story was cookie cutter. I mean, boy turns out to be like the warrior and blah blah blah. You don't really understand the story though unless you played the Final Fantasy Adventures on the Game Boy. But it stood out on its own.
I didn't play Adventures, and I still.
I always
me
wanted
too.
to know more about the world though, because there were like so many places you couldn't land. Like in the Empire area, you go there. There's like a carnival you see there. You see like on the overworld map. There's like a Ferris wheel, and I'm like, I want to go see what's there. That looks interesting.
They did
The
have
music,
a lot of
the music was really great. Like I still like the music a lot. But
No,
like,
you're right. They had a great soundtrack.
Amazing soundtrack.
but then like there was hidden stuff on there that like you could only really discover because it was just so difficult to get because it was all range based. Like getting the final orbs for every weapon. Because there was like a hidden level that they had
That was super RNG.
for the weapons. It was like you had to get like super lucky in the last fortress and get it as like an enemy drop, and then
I never
you get
got
the
all of
ultimate.
them.
You would get the ultimate weapon level for that weapon basically, and I just used the Game Genie when I was a kid. And
Nice.
Cheater!
I don't care. I just wanted to see it. I just wanted to see it. I don't care. Because grinding, anybody can grind. That does not take skill. That just takes patience.
Speak for
And I was
yourself.
like I was like in 7th grade, dude.
And I was proud to sit
Grinding
there
is
for
nothing
about
but an
12
endurance
hours of
test.
grind, and then randomly
Yeah, it
get
is.
that lucky treasure. I'm like, what?
I was in middle school. Only grinding I wanted to do was with a girl.
All up on your jeans, baby. All right.
But no, seriously, it's like
okay.
it was just kind of cool because like you like the hand-to-hand weapon was really awesome when you charged it up and you do like all the Street Fighter combos and
I
stuff.
got a hand-to-hand weapon.
I bet you do.
The only thing I didn't care about is like some
Good
of the
girl.
ranged weapons. It's just a retarded jumping for no reason when you use like the bow or the boomerang. You just start rolling around and jumping. Like, why are you doing this for a bow?
Bard,
Okay. I
Bard
actually-
does it in Final Fantasy 14. You got some stuff where you jump in the air and shit to shoot.
Nobody asked you, Patrice.
I looked it up, and about 2 years ago, when I last saw Eric, him and I played Second Densetsu 3, which is Legend of Mana 3, and it came out for the Switch. And Lord, that damn game was interesting. It had what was it? 4 stories? 4 stories? Yeah, it had,
3.
It had 4.
6 characters, and they are split between 3. Each character was like an opposing force of the other character, like their kingdoms were battling.
Yeah.
So there were 3 different stories, but
So
it was kind of.
So we played 2. It's actually on our YouTube page, Experience Punch Podcast /YouTube, if you want to check it out. And it was actually fun. We played the Beast guy, the Beast character guy, which was pretty funny. And I think we played the chick because she was kind of hot.
As long as you mute that little girl if you play as her.
No, not Charlotte. No, not Charlotte. No.
And it was not the remake. It was the old
original.
One. Yeah, it was the actual original game. So there was no like.
So I played the original Seiken Densetsu 3 back in the day, but it was on an emulator, and it was a fan translated. But it was the Super Nintendo version, so I counted as playing it during the Super Nintendo era. But I never finished it because the ROM crashed. And then I couldn't get it back. It was like the save file was corrupted.
Yeah, I hate when that happens. Next on my list is Turtles in Time. Yes.
Nice.
And I remember this is one of those rental memories when I got it from the damn store, and it was actually and this is funny, it was my very last rental. And Rain has evolved again. This is hilarious. I had this badass friend. He was literally a badass. All he did was get people in trouble. And he convinced me to take $1.25 from my mom. Literally take, not borrow, but take. Go to the store, rent freaking Turtles in Time so we can come back and play it. We brought it back. We walked there in the rain, came back in the rain, and we played it for like a half an hour. My mom questioned me about the money. I got my ass whooped while he sat there and played the game.
Hell no!
Then I had to take the damn game back. I had to walk back.
I wasn't whipping his ass on top of it. I'm not the only one punishing now.
I had to walk back in the rain to take the game back and then come back empty-handed with a sore ass. But
wait, you had to take it back.
You're free not to play it.
45 back? Please, I'd have kept it there. They would have known.
Nope, that was the last game I ever rented, and I will never forget that as long as I live. But I did play it some years later, and rocked the hell out that damn game. I forgot who I played it with. It might have been Trey.
Probably me or Trey.
Yeah,
probably Trey had borrowed my game.
I think
that was like
Trey.
my set. That was like my Saturday morning game. I'd always play it. For some reason, I had to beat it every like Saturday morning.
It was so freaking good because like I didn't know that they could like bring like legit arcade games. I mean, I play Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and stuff like that, but those are fighters and those are different. But games like The Simpsons and games like Turtles, and I didn't know those can come to the home console and be so freaking good. And I would always try to
be fair, the arcade version was slightly different, like a little bit more enhanced. I actually thought the Super Nintendo version was better.
I got you.
Like they added extra stages and stuff on the Super Nintendo version. They did the same thing with the home version Turtles 2 on Nintendo.
I mean, technically, they brought arcade games back into the consoles before then.
Yeah, but I didn't have a lot of games, and I didn't know the games like that. But really came because
not all of us were spoiled rich like Nate or like Eric.
Yep, 100%. Hey, which is why we went to his house to play his games.
I was spoiled.
But yep, I would always pick Donatello and always kick ass, and sometimes I pick Mikey. But then that damn stage, the damn stage where you're surfing in the sewers, Lord, that damn thing. That stage was terrible. And I'd always try to get the pizzas first from Trey. He would be pissed off.
that surfer level is actually easy. It's like the damn Battletoads Double Dragon Speeder. Oh god, that's a nightmare. I literally actually have to use like a slow motion button controller just to beat
I forgot all about that. Lord, that's hilarious. Slow motion mode. I played the Battletoads remake last year on Xbox Game Pass. It was actually pretty fun. It was actually really funny too. They did a really good job with it, but they did bring back the speeder levels. But it's different because they're not like side-scrolling speeder levels. They're like they're not vertical either. They're like straight on. So I thought those were just a pain in the ass. But yeah.
They always are. It's like, how you can have a cold ass beat 'em up, and then you can have these levels that just have nothing to do with the beat 'em up that's just impossible to pass. And you just die instantly as soon as you hit those little stupid brick walls. Like, what?
Well, that's what happened when you hit a brick wall.
You know why they made games so difficult back then?
So
Right?
because they were
Why?
supposed to be
Well, I know
like,
why they did it in the arcade, so you can
It's
steal
to
all your money.
right.
No, it's to it was to give it replayability, so that they would because they didn't anticipate people owning that many games or buying games that often,
Hmm.
and so they made games super hard, so that they would be, so that people would spend all the time on it,
Makes
and
sense.
Makes sense.
because it's not like they were going to make money off of it like an arcade game. Because they made arcade games super difficult because they wanted your quarters.
Yeah. Oh, they just make arcade games evilly. Like there's just certain times you can't avoid dying in an arcade game. It's like they just like, what are you supposed to do right here? You supposed to die. That's what you're supposed to do.
And also too, I
What you're
found out.
supposed to do, is you let all your party die until the tank is the end, and then the tank dies, and then the healer has to use LB3 to survive the whole fight.
What is happening right now? Oh Lord. Anyway, I found out that those old school arcade games, they used to basically cheat the bosses and give them invincibility frames. Like if you would hit them, or if like a specific action happened on the screen, they would become invincible for like 3 seconds, and you couldn't touch them.
Well, you should actually know that anyway. They've always done that. Like you can just tell, like when they get up there, like Bebop and Rocksteady, just those stupid charge things. If you knock them down, they're gonna get up and they're gonna charge you. So you have to learn that pattern and not just take that infinite hit that you're gonna take. You know what damage I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
In other games, even worse, like The Simpsons. There were so many invincibility frames in that game. It's just ridiculous.
I still have that picture of me, you, and Juan playing like back in 2010 at your house on your arcade machine playing The Simpsons.
Nice.
So much fun. All right, Eric, what's your next one, bro?
Okay, number 2. It shouldn't surprise you because it's another RPG. It is Final Fantasy IV or Final Fantasy II back in the actual Super Nintendo era. That, my friend, was a great Mario. And I know Kevin's got that on his list.
Yeah, that's my number 1.
Oh, yeah. But anyways,
That's why I picked different ones.
That is a great-ass RPG. That was legitimately my first RPG. No, I'm sorry, that was my second RPG. But it was really what got me into the Final Fantasy franchise, because this was after coming off of beating Chrono Trigger. Spoiler, it might be somewhere else on my list. But after playing Chrono Trigger, I was like in 8th grade or 7th grade, and I had this other nerdy friend that I like loved RPGs, and so like he had he was more Final Fantasy while I was, like Legend of Zelda and Chrono Trigger, like and Secret of Mana and stuff like that. But we always loaned each other the game. So he loaned me his Final Fantasy 2, and I had loaned him my Chrono Trigger, I believe. And so like I was having so much fun with this game. It's like, oh my god, I didn't know how much I could get immersed into a game like Final Fantasy, like all the different character development and stuff. And it was an older game than Chrono Trigger, but it was still fun. It had so much, like it had more strategy than actual Chrono Trigger. And Chrono Trigger had a lot of strategy, but like you had to like think when you're in boss fights and stuff, or you will get destroyed over and over and over. But I mean, the music was great, the story was great. It just had everything going. I was addicted to this game for like 2 or 3 months. Man, and it was just,
The 3DS remake is unbeatable if you don't keep your elemental shields.
That's crazy.
Because you go into the giant, the Babel giant,
Babel.
and
you have to fight the 4 fiends.
Yeah, you fight the 4 fiends, and they'll utterly destroy you if you have no elemental anything that absorbs elements.
I remember you.
Like I sat there, and I sold those because I was like, whatever, I don't need this. I beat this game many times, and I got to that point, and I couldn't even do it. It's like the game was basically just busted after that. I had to use a cheat device to get past it because I sat there and grinded and I was grinding and like because there was a rest spot there, and I tried to grind and I just couldn't. Like no matter how many levels I gained, it would not do it. But they made that game because the one that came to the Super Nintendo as Final Fantasy II was the easy version. They dummied out so many items Like if you were to go through, um, so after I beat the game multiple times, and I got my hands on a Game Genie, I used the Game Genie on there. And can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. And so I had to get a literal list that somebody made that put each code next to the item that it's supposed to be, because the items that were dummied out were literally just named dummy.
Wow.
Like everything. Like they had, so in the version that we got, there was one item that healed everything. All status ailments. I think it was like, what was it? So in the Japanese version, this and in the later iterations of this game, that item was still in there, but it was way more expensive, and it was like something you find later on, because it heals everything. And so there was an item for each thing. Like if you got turned into a pig, you would get diet food, and that would cure you from being a pig. Literally, I'm not even joking. So every ailment had its own healing item associated to it, and they took all of that out and dummied it all and just made it one item, because the Japanese thought that the Americans wouldn't want a hard RPG because we're lazy.
Well, little did they know.
Little did they know we liked it hard.
But yeah, so there was a ton of stuff like even Sissel, he had an ability that was dummied out. It was dark wave or something, and this is the reason why
they dummied that out, because it was like evil or something like that.
No, they dummied it out. Well, I don't know. They dummied it out, and basically what happened was whenever he used it, it would take away, it would shave off some of his health every time he used it, because the Dark Knight abilities drain your soul basically, and that's what it was supposed to be, and that's why when you go to unlock Paladin Cecil, he fights the Dark Knight version of the reflection of himself, right? And it says don't attack him, he will take himself out, and that's because he's using that move. So he uses that, the reflection uses the dark wave a few times, weakens itself, and then you take it out with one shot.
Yeah, funny story is I got stuck on that fight for like 2 days because I must have.
They literally tell you not to attack. They gave you the answer.
The hell out of him, and I was just getting destroyed. I had to call my friend up, borrow the game from him. He told me don't attack. I was like, what? Okay.
Next time, listen to the game.
My Dark Knight stuff for at least 10 times.
I've always
He put Reddit and he's like, nah, they're trolling.
but yeah, I mean, it was just one of them things, because with that move dummied out, you never know what that move is. You just see the enemy doing that. It's like, why does he have this move?
Yeah.
So once you know that move exists, and once you know what it does, you understand the battle mechanics, and it just kind of opens a whole new world on for you on what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And if you use a Game Genie to beat up Kane when he comes at you, you kick his ass, but he still kicks your ass in the story.
That's how all those games are. Even when you win, you lose because you aren't supposed to win.
Yeah.
I
can't remember what game did that first for me personally, but I remember I was like, okay, why can't I win this damn fight?
I'll tell you, Vile and Mega Man X1.
Aha! Yes, it is. Yes. Dude,
you can
I remember.
literally fuck this dude up for like 30 minutes and he will not lose.
I remember I used to try to reset the freaking console several times and try to go back and win. Like, damn it, that's not what's supposed to happen.
Dude, you have a turbo controller. You just lighten this thing. I'm like, brrr. He's like, what?
Like Little John.
What? All right, Kim. Is there
Okay.
is there a fourth?
I want to say Mario Kart,
Okay.
but I didn't like. I played it, I dabbled in it, and I enjoyed the aspect of the game, and I enjoyed that the style of it. But I didn't spend as much time in that game as I have in the other games that I had mentioned.
Well, I was playing it today, and it is the fourth one, maybe fifth game I played on the little gaming screen thingy. And they cheat so freaking hard.
Oh
do.
God, they do.
I'd get pissed. I would get legit angry at the
Yo.
game. I'm just like, no, I'm not
Dude,
even.
they didn't even pick up items
Exactly.
like in the newer games. They had their own damn
Yes,
items. Like
they did.
Mario just pulled a
Mario and Luigi had a damn
freaking
star.
superstar out of his ass.
Okay, back in the day, I used to always pick. Back in the day, I used to always pick Peach because Peach was awesome. And I was playing with Peach today, and
You
I
got a
was,
thing for Peach. That's what it is.
oh, obviously. Anyway, I was playing today, and you're actually going to see it on the screen a little bit later. But Bowser, like, freaking was throwing constant fireballs at me. I was like, dude, you didn't even pass a freaking box, an item box. And he threw like 5 fireballs at me back to back.
Yeah.
I said, what the hell? And then,
Your
then I
rival
got
will
hit.
wreck you.
I get hit by that, and then Luigi lights up with his freaking magical star power ass. and then I had a red shell. I was like, yes, I got a red shell. I'm gonna throw it at Bowser. He literally hopped over the shell
They cheat. God, man, they cheat.
and never touched him. I said, what the fuck is going on? But
And honestly, you can tell by like what place they start in on who's going to be the most annoying person to deal with.
Yep.
Like you hoping somebody like Toad, because I think Toad only. I don't remember what Toad did.
Me neither.
Did he have like a poison mushroom or something that made you small?
Actually, he might have.
That was lightning bolt.
No, lightning bolt is a normal one, but like Toad actually had like his own particular item that if you ran over,
Pretty
it
sure
made you
Toad-
small. I think.
Pretty sure Toad
I
had just
thought it was.
a speed mushroom.
That doesn't sound like anything that'd be dangerous. No, it was. I'm telling you, he had the damn mushroom to make you small. Google it, please. Google it.
Google it. I will Google it.
High acceleration. Oh. Toad, yeah, he uses mushrooms to shrink, but I don't think he was a poison mushroom. I think it was just a small mushroom. I'm talking about the way it looks.
You looked it up.
Mega
The
ass.
point is, it was a mushroom. They made you small.
Yes.
Got him.
All right, Kevin. What is your number 2 on your list, bro?
3.
Number 3? What? Number 2?
What was my number 3 then?
It was the
Let's
same
see.
same as Eric's, yeah. Anyway,
No,
well,
that was my number 1. Jackass.
what's your next one, bro?
Chrono Trigger.
That's an interesting game you chose.
That sounded evil.
Chrono Trigger would be my number 3. It was a really good, awesome game. It wasn't my. It makes it to my top 5. The music was great. The story was awesome. Had so many endings. I just loved like going through, and finding the different things you could do to see, and get into the developer's room because that was kind of a throwback for me to Final Fantasy II. Going into the developer's room. I just wish there was more to the game series.
How much more do you? I was about to say, how much more do you want from?
I
the
want
game,
more.
damn?
I want more. Well, I want them to make a game based on the story between Trigger and Cross, because it was a text-based game that they did in Japan only, and it was the Radical Dreamers.
Mr. Know-It-All. There was a rumor of a 3rd installment called Chrono Break coming out, but that was probably a decade ago now, so I don't know what happened to it, but I've seen like fan art for it. It looks amazing.
Just
God.
so many times I would just let the title just play because I loved that intro music.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I even bought it. Like, I didn't own it for the Super Nintendo. I think eventually I ended up owning it, but it wasn't until, like, I think the Final Fantasy Chronicles,
Mm-hmm.
where they released Part 2 and Chrono Trigger
Part 4
together, I
Chrono
think it
Trigger.
was.
Yep, I got that.
Part,
right
yeah,
up there.
Part 4 and Chrono Trigger.
I got that in my collection.
But I think my favorite version of it was definitely on the DS.
Yeah. I also have. Well, actually, I have all 3 versions of it, and I did not like the PlayStation version because
Loading.
the battles loaded up, and that was a pain in the ass. The one for Super is the original. I think that's my favorite. I don't care for the. I'm sorry.
I like the DS one because it has the extra content in there that made the game like I want to see this extra stuff.
Screen too small.
Yes. The screen's way too small.
What did you?
The screen's too small. And I will agree with that, but I didn't care for the touch controls on that thing.
They didn't have touch controls on Chrono Trigger.
That's the mobile version.
So no, the one for the 3DS. Or
No,
the
didn't.
DS. The DS, whatever.
Well, I never played the DS version.
Well, I'm talking about during the battles. Yeah, you had to touch which one you wanted, to attack.
No,
I
I never had to do that.
I will load it up right now. I have it right here in my face. And I played it a couple of weeks ago. Yes, you have to touch. I mean, now I don't know if you can turn that off and on because I never checked that. Now that might be a thing that you can turn off, but if it is, I didn't know. But regardless, I prefer the original over the 3DS version. Okay, end of that conversation. All right, moving on. My number 2 is Killer Instinct. Loved Killer Instinct. Yo, we spent so many rainy days playing this damn game. And I'm not even lying about this now. I remember one Saturday, it was me, Trey, my brother, and Trey's cousin, Adam, or Alex, whatever. His name was Alex. His name was Adam, but we called him Alex.
Adam Alex Hart.
Yes. So we spent literally like 16 hours with having like a tournament in this game, and who won? Of course, Trey won the fucking thing because he was a beast in fighting games. And he knew all the.
Because I wasn't there because I was trained. Trey was my bitch when it came to fighting games. So he won because he trained with me, the greatest in the Super Nintendo era of fighting games. Thank you very much.
I will say I got you in Street Fighter Alpha 3, brother. Don't do that. Yeah, so. Yeah, we know about that.
You got me in Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter. I'll admit in Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and maybe Marvel vs. Capcom 2, I'll admit you got me in those versus games. But now the classic Street Fighter is a bit more evenly matched. Thank you very much, sir. Especially Street Fighter Alpha.
Fine. I will concede. Anyway, yes. That game was awesome. I mean, of course, Orchid helped. If you guys don't know, Orchid is an Asian character. She wears a skin-tight outfit, and her boobs are popping. Now, if you look at her now, you'd be like, "What the fuck is that?" But back then, she was hot. But the lore was fantastic. The stages were amazing. Like the stages will break away. You know what I'm saying? Like if you ran into a wall, it would like explode, and they had all these freaking cool particle effects and everything. And of course, Killer Instinct Gold for the 64 took it to the whole nother level. But the original was just so much fun to play. And they had a brand new thing nobody ever seen before called Ultra Combos. It was like freaking 200-300 hit combos. And you would just sit there, put your controller down, and this guy's continuously punching and uppercutting and kicking and Ultra Combo. It was so freaking good. Here we go.
Ultra Combo.
And the story just made you want to go through and just beat the last character's ass because Gargus was a bitch. I hated
Idol was
Gargus.
on the Super Nintendo one. The original was Idol, then Gargus was the one Killer Instinct.
Damn it,
But they
that's
were
right.
both bitches. Especially freaking I can't reach one was that's it. You know, like he started like humping the ground and getting his health back.
Yep.
I can't remember if that was Idle or Gargan, but he was just like start humping the ground and getting his damn health back. You're like, what the hell?
Hardcore cheating. And I was like, what the hell is he doing?
Oh man, I think it was Idle because I was too broken.
And
one of them you could play as. You know, I told you could play as
yes.
one of them. I don't think you could play as Gargus, but I think you could play as Idle in the original.
And then you actually played him as him, and he sucked. He was a terrible.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of memes about playing against the final boss, looking like a freaking Super Saiyan, and then playing as the final boss. It's like freaking Chaozu.
Exactly. You freaking think this guy's gonna be all powerful, and you can barely even walk with him. It's like, what the hell?
Exactly. Or they just nerf him so bad, like Seth from Street Fighter 4. Remember how hard he was as a computer? Yep. And then when you get to him actually playing now, he has like 2 hits and he's dead. And his damage, he's hit through like no damage.
Pain in the ass. But yes.
But if he grabbed you with that spinning pile driver, have your head host gone.
The Killer Instinct soundtrack is one I still listen to this day. I actually listened to it about a week and a half ago when I was coming home from work.
Killer Cuts.
Killer Cuts was amazing. Now, the soundtrack for the new Killer Instinct sucks, but the Killer Cuts and the one from KI Gold was pretty good too. But the original, man, it's got that mid-90s EDM vibe, and it was just so freaking good. So good. Dance to that shit. Killer. Oh, memories.
Oh, and right. Finally, let's not forget about the other thing it has.
Yeah.
Humiliation.
The character would just stop and dance instead of continuing the fight. It was so cool. All right, we got less than 9 minutes left, so we're gonna move on to our number one. All right, Jones, hit me with your number one.
Well, we've already heard it from Kevin, but I will give it even more justice. Number one is Chrono Trigger, the greatest of all time. The game that made me truly fall in love with JRPGs. It just has the best everything, the best soundtrack, some of the best characters, the most indie. Well, there's not the most indie. There's like time travel. It has the most indie for a Super Nintendo game. Everything about that game was great.
Mm-hmm.
So like, look, let me tell you. And it's like this is one of those games that I like saw like in magazines and stuff all the time. Like I remember Game Informer, like they were supposed to have Lunar Eternal Blue. No, I took that back to the very first. You're supposed to actually have Chrono. Never mind with that story. That makes Chrono Trigger seem bad.
What is happening right now?
I'm getting too excited. So basically, the designer, the Akira Toriyama, the man behind Dragon Ball Z, in fact did the artwork for Chrono Trigger. Like it had some beautiful like artwork with the book. It's like it was amazing.
And it was made even more amazing when it came to the PlayStation, and you got those animated cutscenes.
Yes, the cutscenes were awesome. The only thing I disliked about it is that they didn't have voiceovers, but it was still
I'm glad they didn't have voiceovers, because then that way we have no regrets.
True that, because I can imagine we'd be cringing at certain voices.
Frog voice, that would probably piss me off.
I think Ayla's voice would really piss me off. I just feel
Mara would be voiced by the voice of Bulma.
Of
course. Chrono would have no voice because he don't talk.
Yeah.
Magus would be
he actually sound more like Piccolo.
But young Magus would be like
it'd be Dende.
Magus was a beast. I love Magus. He was.
So anyways, back to focusing on it. Come on, what kind of game lets you play as one of the main characters being a former enemy? Like the guy you thought was trying to destroy the world ends up joining a team, because the whole story goes from 600 AD where he was trying to summon Lambis where you thought they were like some cahoots, but he was actually trying to stop losses. It was just a great game, and the soundtrack was lovely. Oh, big time! How many freaking games? Well, I mean, eventually a few, but how many freaking games have the main character die?
Get him.
Come on. Nobody saw that man dying, even though I kind of had a bad feeling. I had that feeling when I got to the Dark Ages that something bad was going to happen. But nobody saw Chrono dying in that game. Like, what?
Technically, you tell Magus to kick. Technically, you can tell Magus to kick sand.
Yeah, there were a lot of things
joining.
You had choice.
That's one of the options.
You could have Magus join your group, or you kill Magus.
And
that
was
a choice.
That was
you
also
kill that man.
That was also one of the greatest things about that game is that your choice actually mattered, and I really miss that mechanic truly being in games now. Because I mean, even with Final Fantasy 14, I love that game, but like when they tell you to like choose your line or you choose your words or whatever, it really don't matter. It doesn't matter.
Some of those come back. Some of those come back at you. Some of those decisions to do stuff comes back at you later on in the story.
Well, I haven't had
that. But not so bad. I think the only real one is kind of indirect out it, but you haven't even finished it, so I won't even say.
Well, no, because if you leveled up Alchemist and the Alchemist Guild guy was familiar with you, then he has a totally different dialogue with you during the current event of the Rising.
Absolutely true.
If you level up Dragoon before doing Heavensward, then Estinian knows who you are beforehand, and he recognizes you.
Dragoons, baby.
Whereas when I went into Heavensward as a summoner, Estinian's like, who the fuck is this guy?
Ah!
That's it, word for word.
Yeah, that's what happened when I was a Leanne, and I'm not thinking about it because I don't think I even had Dragoon the 30 by then.
But yeah, I mean, your choice does matter on a lot of that stuff. You just don't know because you don't. I mean, you could do all this stuff and then do New Game Plus and probably see it.
But again, that's not the main mechanic of the game, and that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I get what it's basically what Cyrus is saying though. Is like yours actually changed the outcome of the game. Versus doing that in Final Fantasy. Yeah, you get different comments and stuff. But
exactly,
it doesn't
changes the
entire.
If you make a choice to it might block off an entire freaking timeline, which is insane.
Chrono Cross is even a better example of this.
Oh, Chrono Cross.
I picked because I wanted to have old girl kids in my group, but I sided with the wrong side. So she said nothing to do with me until 3/4 of that game, or not. There was basically depending on what path you chose, you couldn't get half the characters until you get a New Game Plus. There were some characters that I really wanted to play as that I couldn't get. I was like, what the hell? Yep. I didn't want these dudes.
I think that was one of the first games I ever legit bought a guide for, and because I can't stand using guides because it just irritates the hell out of me. They make my balls itch. But
you actually needed a guide for Chrono Cross.
But that was a game you had to have a guide for.
Dude, there was still stuff I was learning about that game.
Kim.
Well, flashback to our last episode, we talked about things we're nostalgic for in games or whatever. Actual physical game guides, those books, I love buying those. I love physically marking things off in the book. I love those.
I just like them for the artwork.
Guides, but I had a few. I love my original one from Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, though. I love that guide. That was just one of those Prima guides. They had the stats itself.
I like the guides for the artwork, honestly. Just because it gave you different artwork than what was,
Yeah.
True, I had some Street Fighter guides, and I don't need no damn Street Fighter guide, but I like the artwork, like you said.
Definitely good stuff. Kim, is there a number one on your list, or are we moving to Kevin?
No, I do have one more. I want to say Super Mario World.
Nice.
And I'm not saying the game is so basic. It's it's not as monumental as the games you guys have been talking about. But for me, personally, because I haven't played very many Super Nintendo games, I usually find a few favorites and stick with them. But for repeatability, and for the fact that I have beaten it many times over the course of the years,
Oh yeah.
that I do appreciate it, and it is probably my favorite Mario game. I don't
Oh,
even
really?
care about Mario games anymore, but that one I'll still pick up every once in a while just for fun.
Oh, I agree with you. Okay, so
Star
I have plenty of
levels.
honorable mentions that I didn't even have to
Mhm.
fit on my list. But Mario World was definitely an epic game. That was one of my favorite Mario games of all time.
I love that you
Sweet.
get to select the different paths to take too, on the levels, and have the secret
To a
levels and
degree, you
all
had choices like you can skip getting the going to the like the yellow block area or whatever, and then
that. Yeah.
shit gets a lot harder.
Oh yeah.
Or and then if you knew about Rainbow Road, you could like literally beat the game in like 13 levels in comparison going through 8 worlds or 7 worlds
Yeah, if
technically.
you can get through those levels were fucking tough.
The game had a lot of secrets in it for sure.
That's true. That is
So when I
very
first
true
beat it,
too.
I just beat it basic. I just got to the end and beat it,
Mhm.
and then I like discovered more to it later on, and I was like, oh my god! It's like, why did I never do this before?
The thing that a lot of people never even knew, any level that has a red dot instead of a yellow dot means it has a second exit. People do not know
Yep.
that to this day.
Nice.
Yet
That
I'm
And
is,
of
pretty
course,
sure
going
they
back
actually
now,
explain it in one of those boxes that you can find in the game.
that's actually the fourth game I played on my little playthrough. That's on screen right now.
Nice.
Which I think the playthrough just ended, but that's okay. We can keep going. I will add this to the bonus points episode. Kevin, continue on.
Well, since you're calling out number one, but I'm actually on number two, but Eric just took my number one, so honorable mention will be my number two, and that's the Breath of Fire series 1 and 2.
Mhm.
My
Nice.
number one is going to be Final Fantasy VI.
Your number one can still be
So
4.
shut up, Final Fantasy VI.
Fight.
I already talked about Final Fantasy IV though, so I can't. It's like this
Well,
is
you can just say
backpedaling.
your last game.
Breath of
Your
Fire.
number one in your
So
heart is always going to be Final
so
Fantasy
Breath
4.
of Fire games. If you want to hear me talk about the Breath of Fire games, watch our previous episode titled Fire Emblem.
That's right.
Ah!
And it's still there. Boom. I'm gonna
But Final
leave it.
Fantasy VI. Final Fantasy VI was going to be my number two, because I do like 4 more, but 6 is really awesome. 6 built on what 4 brought to the table.
6 was so
Um,
good. I
they-
could not play those
they-
old school Final Fantasy games, like because I can't. They're too old school for me, and they irritate the hell out of me. But the story for 6 kept me going, and that's one of the best Final Fantasy stories around. Like legit.
Final Fantasy VI was awesome. Between the whole will Sid live or die later on if you feed him fish,
Lord.
to just the whole split between the 3 when they go down the river and Sabin goes by himself and picks up
Mhm.
Gao and Cyan, and
Yep.
Cyan's one of my favorites. Mr. Thou is what Gao calls him.
Yeah, I love Sam.
But it was just like I said, like they put more emotion into those pixels, and they were like a lot smaller pixels than like Chrono Trigger. Like Chrono Trigger pixels were taller, the characters,
Mhm.
and they were still able to like put like hand gestures. Where I'm pretty sure that Edward, whenever he would put his hand up and and wiggle his finger, I'm pretty sure he was flipping you the bird, because every time he did that, that was like being sassy. And all the way up until the fact that one of the biggest freaking mysteries in the game, and to this day, Square, they never fully gave an answer to this, but we all fucking know Shadow is Realm's dad.
Oh,
Shadow's real name is Clyde. Strago knows it, and like it's just watching the Shadow dream sequence. I spent shit ton of gil. I farmed the Cactrots, or Cactars now they're called. I farmed those fuckers.
Cactards.
I farmed the fuck out of those guys so I can get enough money to stay at that goddamn inn and get all those dream sequences, because they didn't happen every time. And once I saw all those dream sequences, from then on, every time I got Shadow, I would always name him Clyde. But I mean, it was just really awesome. Like the fact that when you're going through the second part of the game, and every character has their own little like closer to their story. Basically, even Gao has his little thing where he goes to try to confront his dad who kicked him out into the wild. They dress him up and everything. They take him. They put him in like a fancy suit, and his father is just demented.
I remember that.
And it just breaks your heart.
I got that too.
Breaks your heart.
Yeah, that was actually really sad.
Or the secret of cast Spanish on anything, and you can pretty much take them out with Doom. That was fucking funny. If they can cast Vanish, they're dead. There is one.
I did not know about
Invincible.
that.
There is one monster called the Intanger. It's on an island in the world of balance before everything goes to shit. And the enemy is almost impossible, but if you could beat him, you get a shit ton of AP to go towards your Magicite spell learning. And this guy, if you learn Doom or any death spell, you can kill him instantly because he starts every battle off invisible and asleep, and he only wakes up to whoop your ass, and he'll kill you in one shot if you use magic on him. Because magic is the only way. Magic is the only way you can kill. You can hit an enemy that's invisible. So
I don't think I've ever fought him.
Look it up. It's interesting.
That's
It's the same island that in the Dark World where the worm shows up and swallows you, and you can get Go-Go. So you can only get the Intanger if it's the World of Balance. So if you get to the World of Balance,
you have access to the airship.
Yep. If you go into the World of Darkness or the World of Ruin, before encountering that enemy, he'll never show up again, because in the World of Ruin, the only way he'll show up is on the Veldt.
Learn something new.
And they also dummied out abilities on there as well. Gao, actually, there's a dummied out ability, and I found this out because Game Genie, of course, after I beat the crap out of the game so many times, I actually made it to where you could edit what enemies showed up on the Veldt, and I made it so that Gilgamesh could show up on there. And you could jump, and Gao will go to him, and he'll actually get an ability from Gilgamesh, a rage ability.
Get your rage on. All right, on to the final one of the evening, which is mine. My number one. Well, not number one, but my number one memorable SNES game of all time is Illusion of Gaia.
Knew it! I was saying it in my head. I was going to say Illusion of Gaia.
Illusion of Gaia is an amazing RPG.
Illusion of Gaia. Oh, you're killing it.
Illusion of Gaia
is Gaia, not Gaia.
Fantastic.
It's Gaia.
RPG.
It's Gaia.
You guys play Gaia. I play Gaia.
No, it's definitely Illusion of Gaia. Trust me on that one. It is
Okay, there was no voiceovers to confirm it.
I hate to make Eric right, but
yeah. Well, I've been calling this for about 25 years now, so guess what? It's gonna stay
learn to evolve.
It's gonna stay Gaia. Anyway, but yeah, this RPG was fantastic. You start off as this blonde little boy, and you get to turn into like a knight, and you get like a flute and go to the Tower of Babel, and freaking it was just something so charming about this damn game.
It was all over the place.
Yeah, well, it's true. That game is all over the place. I honestly do not remember what the hell the story was, but remember you get to turn to stone and statues and stuff like that. It's just
I remember your best friend.
It's one of those
hooked up with the fairy girl.
Sure, it's one of those games that is just extremely charming. It had like Nintendo's charm to the story, and it had different kind of mechanics. You get like these little.
Oh, and the night was freedom, by the way, and then you can also
Yep.
turn into, I believe, shadow.
There you go. Yep. I forgot all about that. And you get these upgrades like normal to get to different areas, and it was just. I spent a lot of time with that game. I do not remember how
That
I
was an
got
awesome
it.
game.
What happened?
Did you borrow it from me?
I have no idea. I do not remember where I got most of my games from, to be honest with you. But that
You
game,
probably borrowed it from me.
I played it a lot. I remember having that, Secret of Evermore, a game called Robotech, and Secret of Mana. I had those 4 games like stacked. Like
I never played Secret of Evermore. I was
See,
always
I
mad
never-
because I thought it was going to be like Secret of Mana.
I never played Gaia, but I did play Evermore, and I beat that. And that game kind of pissed me off.
why?
Because in one of the levels, the game was solid. The game was fun. It was great. But
I
in
love
one
the
of the
fact that
later
you could have a dog in that game. That was the best part.
in one of the later levels, it's like a medieval type level or area. Cecil from Final Fantasy IV shows up
Really?
as he makes a cameo appearance, and he says that me and Rosa started up an item shop. I'm like, what the
But you
fuck?
could never get to the item shop.
It was horrible. It was bad. It was just like,
Yeah.
why did you do this to Cecil?
It was
And
it was made by Enix, right?
No, it was Square. It was SquareSoft. Yeah. It was a Square game. I mean, it's not the fact that the cam. It was just the way they played him. Like Cecil would not become an item shop
An
owner.
item shop owner. What do you
No.
like? The
He had so
king
much
of Baron?
potential.
He becomes a fucking king of Baron. Damn it.
You guys are funny.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there. But I mean, at the same time, Breath of Fire has Chun-Li doing lightning leg kicks for some damn reason.
Maybe you've heard of me. The name Cecil of Baron Castle. That's what he says.
Oh God! Did they actually let you go to his item shop?
Yeah, he's like he sells weapons or some shit.
We'll just call this an alternate reality.
Yeah, this is it
That's
right here.
terrible. I
You
can't
refuse
remember.
to
There was
accept
actually
it as canon.
there was a cameo in Final Fantasy VI in the opera that I didn't even know about, but apparently I can't remember what characters they. Never mind. No, I think I'm thinking of something else. There's something else that had in Final Fantasy. Never mind. I don't remember what I'm talking about. I don't remember right now.
Breath of Fire 1 has if you go into pay to look into this room, periodically you'll get Chun-Li doing her kick attack.
Cute. And that was our top 5 and Kim's top 5.
Oh, I think I only took 4.
For Super Nintendo games that we had the most fun with growing up. Of course, we could talk about many, many more and a lot of honorable mentions and stuff like that, but we're going to keep it there. And next week's episode, we may just have our Legend of Zelda episode going on. That'll be a lot of fun. But we'll find out later. What?
I Googled it, by the way.
Okay, well, hold that thought. Hold that thought. Until next time, gamers, don't forget to keep on
Level
The
up.
greatest game of all time, Chrono Trigger, and leveling up.
What is wrong with you?
I don't know.